I want to bring in our guest, David Bank. He has an outperform rating on News Corp. He joins us now on the phone with more on this. And John and Dominic, of course, staying with me as well to cover this story. But David, give me your first reaction on this buyback. Is this the best use of the cash right now for News Corp?
This is what investors have been waiting for years. There's probably no more accretive deal than they can do right now than using their own cash to buy back stock. They have about $13 billion of cash on the balance sheet, earning virtually nothing, and we think their stock is massively undervalued. So this is incredibly accretive and, more importantly, incredibly surprising. Management for a very long time has indicated they probably just weren't going to buy back a material amount of stock. So this is this is a pretty big, pleasant surprise for investors.
David,
today.
relate this, though, move to what we've seen going on in London. Relate the two for me.
Well, I think first off, part of the reason that that News Corp had kept the powder dry was for the B Sky B transaction, which was probably the second best use of cash. So the natural question would be, is this in lieu of B Sky B? Are they basically coming out and saying, we're buying back $5 billion of stock this year, that means we're not doing B Sky B?
Right.
I don't think so at all. This is a company that generates something like $2.5–3 billion of free cash flow on an annualized basis, and the competition review process is going to take at least 8 months. So, they're going to generate a couple of $1 billion more cash while they're waiting to do B Sky, and they're still gross levered under 2 times. So it's not a we're not going to do that, so we're doing this. I do think the timing is obviously pretty strategic, though. I think they know the market needs to see some real action out of Rupert, and they need to know that Rupert is aligned with them. They need to know they're acting in the best interest of shareholders, and this is a very, very positive sign.
David, it's John Erlichman. All that said, the stock initially was up about 7%. Now it has cooled off a little bit. It's up about 4%. Is there a danger that maybe their strategy or pulling the trigger on something a little too early?
No, I think I think it's a brilliant move. We try not to focus on movements in the market like that that are going to be incredibly volatile over the pre-market period. I think we try and have a little bit of a longer-term view. This represents something like 10% accretion to earnings, and it's an incredibly positive move. And no, I don't think it's early. I don't think it really signals an end of the ambition.
But do they have to make this move, in other words, to help the bottom line because they know that their earnings are going to take a hit because of this whole scandal? No,
I don't think so at all. I think in when you look at the newspaper business contribution to OI for News Corp overall, it's about 10% of their total OI, and we think the UK is like 3% of that. It's 3%, so maybe a third of the 10%. So I don't think this is about concern over the bottom line. This is more a signal that hey, shareholders, we understand the volatility in the stock. We understand we're going to be sitting on a pile of cash for at least the next 8 months. We understand the responsible thing to do is deploy that cash, to allocate it in a shareholder-friendly way, and that's what we're doing. This was the best move they could make.
Dave, it's Dominic here. Really quickly, about 15–20 seconds for you left here. How important is the B Sky B deal? Do they need this? Should they even pursue this down the line here?
Well, to me, I think buying stock back is a better use of the cash. In lieu of buying stock back, it's the next best tactical thing they could do with that cash.
David, thank you. Appreciate it. David Bank of RBC Capital Markets.